Hi everybody, Chef Adam Graham here, author of The Complete Idiot's Guide to Raw Food Detox and creator of the Live Food Experience. I'm here to share another recipe with you. This is another signature recipe, one of my favorites. I created this recipe because of my love of snacking. I made the transition to a plant-based diet and a raw food plant-based diet after years and years, literally 30 years of eating traditional diet. And I still had my favorite little meals that I really love to enjoy. And things like peanut butter and apples and celery and apples, you know, the classic ants on a log recipe where you put peanut butter on the celery and then you put the raisins on there. And I wanted to create a recipe that kind of brought me back to that nostalgia of enjoying nut butter with apples and celery and things like that. So in my learning, I combined a bunch of ingredients that traditionally I wouldn't have put together, never even known existed. And so this recipe actually features raw almond butter. I actually soaked, sprouted, and dehydrated almonds at home and made this almond butter in my blender. And I keep it in the refrigerator, and whenever I need almond butter, that's my go-to. So that's the featured ingredient. Well, one of the featured ingredients is almond butter. I refer to this recipe as my almond miso spread. And so this is the other featured ingredient. You got your almonds, and then this here is miso, which is a fermented bean paste. So what most people are familiar with in regards to miso is going to maybe a Japanese restaurant and they order miso soup. Now that soup is made from this fermented bean paste. Doesn't sound very sexy, but miso is a superfood. It's a fermented food. It's loaded with probiotics. It also has enzymes, and it's been studied for its healing properties. Miso is known to remove radiation from the body, and it's been studied for its anti-cancer properties. So it's just an all-around one delicious food, but it's also a proven healing food. And it adds the savory note to this recipe. So that's where we get the synergy between the almond butter, which is nice, heavy, kind of fatty satisfaction, and then you add the miso, and that gives you this savory element. And so I'm going to put the almond butter in the bowl. There's a 1/4 cup of raw almond butter. Now, how do you track down raw almond butter? Well, you're just going to have to hunt for it. You can get it at health food stores. There's some grocery stores that actually have their own. I know that Trader Joe's actually has a raw almond butter that they brand and have on the shelves. Health food stores, some of the higher end grocery stores are going to have raw almond butter. What's the difference between that and roasted almond butter? Well, the roasted almond butter is going to have a different flavor, and you're not going to get the benefit of the raw nuts and their enzymes and some of the ingredients that you lose when the nuts, the almonds are processed and roasted. So the almond butter goes in there. I also have a tablespoon of mesquite powder, another one of my favorite ingredients. It has a kind of unique flavor. It adds a level of sweetness. And then there's a 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. So between all of these, we put them all in the bowl and we kind of make a little mush. Now, this makes a really thick paste. So the last ingredient for this recipe is water. I usually measure out the equivalent of almond butter to water. So this recipe that we're doing right now, I put about a 1/4 cup of almond butter in the bowl, so I have a 1/4 cup of water. And you want to use filtered or bottled water. You don't want to take this amazing, healthy, delicious recipe and go and put tap water in it, because there's some not so good stuff in tap water. And here we go. We got, right now, I want to show you that it kind of turns into a clumpy, glumpy paste. Well, we don't want that. And this is where we start adding some water. And as we add the water, kind of mix it in. Now I'm making a point to use a fork. I've done this in my years of making this recipe. I found that if you do this with a spoon, the spoon kind of cups the water and it sprays it out onto your countertop and into your face and all over your pretty purple chef coat. So in an effort to do less laundry, I learned that using a fork to do this minimizes that squirting, which I got a little spurt there a second ago. Okay, so I'm mixing. How do you know when you got enough water in the recipe? Well, the magic consistency is similar to caramel. So this is a little too thick for me. So I'm going to add a little bit more water. And as I said, the usual, the close mix is right about 1:1 almond butter to water. But I like to just add it till I get the perfect consistency. And then it's time to dip. And my choice for dipping in my almond miso spread or almond miso dip is apples and celery. Now I've tried some other stuff, and it just seems to be these two work the best, because you got the crisp sweetness of the apple and you have the crunchy, slightly salty flavor of the celery, and you get that perfect taste. So here we go. This is kind of the consistency we're looking for. Now the cool thing is you make this, make a nice big bowl of it, you come back and eat some later if you have any leftover, and it might thicken up a little more, and then you can add a little bit more water. But that is the perfect mixture. Right now I'm going to cut this apple, try a slice, see if it's to live for. Oh yeah, I still got it. That's my almond miso spread. Thanks for joining me. Look forward to sharing more recipes, wellness tips. Check me out, lifefoodexperience.com, or on Be Well TV. Thank you. See you next time. Keep it live.